record to the computer. Hi, my name is Amy Lemke, and I am the graduate assistant for the service learning class through the Aging and Longevity Studies program at the University of Iowa. And today I have with me one of the students who was enrolled in ASP 3920, which is the service learning class through the program. And she was a student who was in the program during the spring of 2020, which forever after will be known as the semester of the pandemic. And so today I have with me Olivia, who is a social work interest major. She was enrolled in service learning during her spring semester of her freshman year. And I wanted to ask her some questions about her experience with the program. So you ready?
Yes.
All right. So Olivia, could you share with us what interested you in service learning? What made you say, I'm taking that?
Yeah, so I was in a class called Intro to Gerontology, and there was actually a guest speaker who came and was talking about how it's such a good opportunity. And, I missed interacting with older adults, one-on-one, because I worked in a retirement home when I was in high school. And I'm interested in the Aging and Longevity Certificate program through social work. So there's just a lot of ways that I was like, oh, that sounds like a great opportunity. And so I signed up for it, and and it's been great.
Could you tell us a little bit about what it consisted of?
Yes. So initially it was I went to Melrose Meadows, which is a retirement home in Iowa City. And it was once a week I would go and meet with my tenant there and, really just strike up a friendship and relationship. And then I would journal about it once a week. And then there was discussion posts every now and then. And I would check in with Amy. But it was really the central focus was meeting with that resident and building that relationship. So that was really great.
How do you think that this class contributed to developing skills? What skills would you say?
I would say, really striking up that relationship with someone from a different generation from the ground up. I feel like everyone has a relationship with a grandparent or someone that they're close to that's an older adult, but really, finding a friendship with someone who you've never met before, that was a really special thing. And then just, learning all about them and everything of the sort. And then I just feel really more well-equipped to go on and work with older adults if that's what I want to do.
Oftentimes I would hear students say, I was initially a little apprehensive about this. I wasn't sure how to carry a conversation for that long or if this was going to be awkward. Did you feel that way initially?
I mean, initially I feel like when you meet anyone, it's a little bit scary, you know what I mean? And building that relationship. But I feel like my resident was a conversationalist, which really helped. And once I got her talking, she had a lot to say. And so I feel like initially you have to get over the scare of, any type of new interaction. But it was well worth it. And it wasn't hard to make that conversation flow or anything like that.
I hear students report it dissipates over time. With time, they grew to look forward to those visits and follow up on what things they talked about the previous week.
Yeah.
And because this semester was so wildly unique, we had to change to virtual classroom in the middle of the semester. How did it change for you? And what did you think about those changes?
Yeah, so, midway through, we left campus and everything. So I was in contact with Amy, and we were just figuring out what that would look like for me. And it ended up being that my resident was very comfortable using FaceTime. And so we FaceTimed once a week. We had a weekly FaceTime call. And I also was comfortable writing letters to her. And the social work page actually for Iowa had a list of nursing homes that were interested in receiving letters. So I ended up writing a couple letters to those nursing homes. And overall, it was mainly that FaceTime call that I kept up that interaction with my resident. And I enjoyed it. I was totally on board with it. And she, you might not think the older generation is so comfortable using technology, but she was gifted with it. She always answered, and it was great. I had fun with it.
So you felt like it was still a feasible and viable classroom experience despite having to change to a virtual setting.
Yeah, I felt like, our world is increasingly technologically based. And so to find a way to still interact with older adults on that basis was really meaningful, because I think we're moving towards that direction anyways, of having that type of interaction. So I was like, you know what, let's do it. You gotta lean into it.
And I think it was also meaningful because at that time, the facility, the building where your tenant was also socially shut down. So
Yeah,
there,
yeah,
it gave her a window into a new world and continued socialization despite the COVID-19 restrictions.
yeah.
Found when we talked about your experience, you listened really closely as you were building the relationship with your tenant. And as a result, you were able to create a very unique and meaningful experience for her. So, could you share with me a little bit about what you did and how your tenant responded to that?
So, over time, in growing this friendship with my tenant, I learned that one, she was wanting to write a book about her experiences, but two, part of that was she had mentioned she always wanted to go to Paris, and um, it was just a city that really interested her. And so I think I was talking to Amy at one point, and she gave me the idea of all these places that are doing virtual tours for free in the time of quarantine. And so I was looking on different websites and that sort of thing, and I figured out that the Louvre in Paris had a free virtual tour, and then so did the Eiffel Tower. And so I mentioned it to my resident, and I was like, is this something you'd be interested in? She was like, that sounds great. Paris is, she was for sure, and that she wanted to see something in Paris. And so it worked out really well that the Eiffel Tower virtual tour was super cool. You got to see like the cityscape, and then you also got to see inside the Eiffel Tower. And so she really enjoyed that one. And then we looked at a couple different pieces of artwork in the Louvre, and that was super fun too. So that was very special.
I think that's,
Yeah.
yeah, you helped her have a dream come true despite a pandemic in the middle of Iowa without leaving. And I think that's super special. So what would
Yeah.
you say to other students who were interested in service learning? What advice would you give them?
I would say it is well worth it. And it's, very good skill building to be able to interact with, a specific population, especially if you're interested in going into working with older adults. You really build that skill set. And it's super well worthwhile to be able to interact with an older adult, especially on a college campus that is mostly, younger people. I really enjoyed it, and it was a great opportunity.
Wonderful. Well, Olivia, I want to thank you for sharing your thoughts with me today.
Of
And
course.
I want to thank you for your involvement in service learning. And you did a phenomenal job. And if anybody is interested in also having an experience like Olivia's, virtual or not, as our world progresses, please look
Right.
up Aging Studies 3920, the service learning program through Iowa's Aging and Longevity Studies. So thanks again, everyone, and have a good day. Thanks.